You have been tired for a while now, not just physically. Tired in a deeper way. Tired of the noise inside your own head. Tired of thoughts that arrive uninvited. Tired of a mind that keeps moving even when everything in you wants to rest. And somewhere beneath that tiredness, there is a question you have been carrying, maybe without even realizing it. Is there something more than this? Something quieter, something steadier, something that does not require this much effort just to feel okay? The answer is yes, and it has been waiting for you in the one place the noise cannot reach. Welcome to Mindfulness. I am glad you are here. Today we are going to go somewhere most people are afraid to go, into the silence. And we are going to explore through ancient Buddhist wisdom why your mind creates noise, what it means to truly listen to the universe, and the profound freedom that arrives when you finally do. 1. The noise is not the problem. Most people who want a quieter mind believe the noise is the enemy. They want to silence the thoughts, stop the mental chatter, reach some perfect state of stillness where nothing moves and nothing speaks. But that is not what the ancient teachings actually point to. And more importantly, that is not how peace actually arrives. Here is something worth sitting with. The noise in your mind is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that you have been trying very hard to hold everything together for a very long time. The mental chatter, the planning, the worrying, the endless loops. It came from somewhere real. It came from a life that asked a lot of you. And your mind, trying to help, built a machine that never turns off. But here is what changes everything. The noise was never the thing blocking the universe from reaching you. Your belief that you are the noise, that was the block. Think about the surface of a lake. When the wind is strong, the water moves, ripples, waves, disturbance. But underneath, even in the worst storm, the deep water does not move. It stays exactly as it always was, still, clear, undisturbed. Your mind is that lake. The thoughts are the surface, but you are not the surface, you are the depth. And the universe does not speak to the surface, it speaks to the depth. This is the first thing Buddhist wisdom asks you to understand. Not that you must silence the waves, but that you must remember you are not the waves. You are the water itself. All of it, the surface and the depth, but you have been living only at the top, convinced that the motion is who you are. When you stop trying to fight the noise and simply recognize that it is surface movement, something softens, not because you forced it to, but because you stopped adding more wind. That softening, that tiny release of effort, is the beginning of everything. It is where the universe starts to become audible again. 2. What the universe actually sounds like. People expect the universe to speak in dramatic ways. A sign in the sky, a dream so vivid it feels like instruction, a voice that arrives with certainty and tells you exactly what to do. But this expectation is part of why most people never hear it. The universe does not shout. It never has. It speaks in the language of the subtle, in the small pull you feel towards something you cannot explain, in the unexpected calm that washes over you when you are about to make the right choice, in the moment when a stranger says something that answers the question you have been carrying for months. There was once a student in an old monastery who spent years waiting for enlightenment to arrive like thunder. He meditated for hours, he studied deeply, he waited for the great shift. And one morning, while he was simply washing his bowl after breakfast, he noticed the warmth of the water on his hands. That was it, not thunder, warmth. A presence so ordinary it had always been invisible. He wept, not because something new had arrived, but because he realized it had never left. That is what the universe sounds like. It sounds like presence. It feels like recognition. It arrives not in the extraordinary, but in the fully experienced ordinary. The reason most people miss it is not lack of spirituality or effort. It is overstimulation. When every moment is filled with sound, with screens, with internal commentary, there is no receiver available to pick up the signal. The signal is always broadcasting. What shifts is your ability to receive it. This is why Buddhist practice places such emphasis on simplicity, not as an aesthetic choice, but as a functional one. The simpler your inner environment, the more clearly you can hear what has always been speaking. The universe is not preparing a message. The message is already here. You are just learning to tune in. 3. Why your mind fears silence. If stillness is where peace lives, why does the mind resist it so fiercely? Why, the moment you sit down to be quiet, does everything in you suddenly need to plan tomorrow, replay last Tuesday, or solve a problem that does not even exist yet? This is not weakness. This is protection. And understanding why changes your relationship with the resistance completely. The mind learned very early that silence carries risk. In moments of stillness as a child, difficult feelings surfaced. Uncertainty became louder. Things that were being avoided could no longer be avoided. And so, the mind made a quiet agreement with itself. Keep moving, keep thinking, keep generating noise, because as long as there is noise, the uncomfortable things stay underneath it. This is the mind's way of keeping you safe. It is not your enemy. It is a guardian that became overzealous. It locked the door to protect you and then forgot that you also needed to breathe. Buddhist teaching does not ask you to break down that door. It asks you to sit beside it, to tell the guardian gently, without force, that you understand why it is there, and that you are safe enough now to simply rest, that you do not need to be protected from stillness, that silence is not a threat, it is a home. When you stop treating the mind's resistance as something to overcome and start meeting it with understanding, something shifts. The resistance softens because it no longer needs to fight, and in that softening, for the first time, space opens, not emptiness, space. A spaciousness that feels like exhaling after holding your breath for years. That space is not nothing. That space is everything. It is where the universe has been waiting, patiently, without urgency, without judgment, simply waiting for you to feel safe enough to arrive. 4. The art of listening without waiting. There is a difference between silence and listening. Most people, when they try to quiet their mind, are actually waiting for something to happen, waiting for peace to descend, waiting for the insight, the sign, the shift. And that waiting, even though it looks like stillness, is still a form of mental activity. It is still the mind reaching forward, grasping for an outcome. True listening has no agenda. It does not need anything to arrive. It is not braced for something. It is simply open. Think of the difference between looking for a specific bird in a forest and just sitting in the forest, open to whatever moves. One is a search. The other is a receptivity. Both are in the same forest, but only one of them will notice the bird that arrives from an unexpected direction. This is one of the most quietly radical teachings in the contemplative traditions, that the deepest awareness is not an effort. It is a release of effort. You do not reach stillness. You stop moving away from it. So what does that actually look like? It looks like this. You sit. Thoughts come. You do not follow them. You do not push them away either. You simply notice them the way you would notice clouds from a window, present, moving, real, but not requiring anything from you. And underneath that noticing, something begins to breathe, a rhythm that is not yours, but that you are part of, a quiet that is not empty but full of something wordless that you recognize the way you recognize home. This is not a technique, it is an orientation. And once you understand it, everything about the way you approach stillness changes. You stop trying to achieve silence. You start trusting that it is already here. And in that trust, not the waiting, not the effort, not the reaching, but in the simple act of trusting, the universe finally has room to speak. 5. Releasing the weight you carry into stillness. You cannot fully hear the universe while you are still carrying something heavy into every quiet moment. And most people do not realize how much they bring with them when they finally sit down to be still. They bring guilt from last year. They bring fear about next month. They bring the identity of being someone who is not yet healed, not yet arrived, not yet at peace. And so even their silence is crowded. Even their stillness is tense. They sit down to rest and they bring the weight with them onto the chair. Buddhist wisdom has always understood this. The teachings do not ask you to solve the weight before sitting. They ask you to set it down, just for now, just for this breath, and notice what remains when you do. Here is a simple truth that is easy to forget. You are not required to carry everything all the time. The past does not need your constant attention to remain the past. The future does not need your constant management to eventually arrive. For this moment, just this one, you are allowed to put it all down. Not because it does not matter, but because the version of you who is still and quiet is far more equipped to carry it later than the version of you who never rests. When you bring lightness into stillness, the quality of that stillness changes entirely. It becomes inhabitable. You can actually live there for a moment, breathe there, receive there. And what you receive in that unguarded, unburdened moment is not an answer your mind constructed. It is a knowing that arrives whole, clear and complete before you even have words for it. That is the universe speaking, not to the version of you who is managing everything, but to the version of you who, just for a breath, let everything be. 6. How nature has always been teaching this. Before monasteries, before texts, before any formal tradition, human beings learned stillness from the world around them. They sat beside rivers, they watched fire, they lay under open skies and felt, without needing to name it, that something vast and intelligent was present in all of it. Nature has always been the oldest teacher of this wisdom, not because it is spiritual in a romantic sense, but because it is honest. It does not pretend. A tree does not try to be a tree. A river does not manage its flow. The moon does not work for its light. Everything in nature simply is what it is, fully, without effort, without performance. And in that effortless being, it radiates a kind of intelligence that the restless human mind has always found calming. This is why, even now, even in the middle of a modern life full of noise, stepping outside and truly attending to the natural world shifts something in you almost immediately. Not because you escaped your thoughts, but because nature reminds your nervous system of a different way of existing, one that does not require constant effort to justify itself. In this sense, the universe has always been speaking through the physical world around you, through the quality of light at a certain hour, through the sound of rain arriving before you see it, through the particular stillness of early morning before the world begins its noise. These are not metaphors, they are transmissions, and your ability to receive them depends entirely on how available you are when they arrive. Buddhist practice has always included this: attention to the living world as a path to inner quiet, not as a distraction from practice, but as the practice itself. You do not need to travel anywhere sacred. You need only to step outside, stop performing your thoughts for a moment, and let what is already alive around you teach you how to simply be. 7. The moment the universe begins to answer. There is a moment that practitioners across many traditions describe in almost identical ways, even though they come from completely different cultures, different centuries, different languages. It is the moment when the inner noise drops below a certain threshold, not gone, not silent, but quieted enough, and something shifts. The quality of awareness changes. What was a searching becomes a finding. What was effort becomes ease, and what was longing becomes, without any drama, a quiet sense of arrival. This is not enlightenment in the grand cinematic sense. It is something more humble and more real. It is the moment the mind stops generating and starts receiving. And in that receiving, something communicates, not in the way a person communicates, not in language or instruction, but in the way sunlight communicates warmth. You feel it, you know it. It requires no interpretation. People who have touched this moment often describe a feeling of being known, not understood by someone else, but known by something larger, as if whatever is underneath and behind all of existence has noticed you and is simply present with you, not guiding you, not telling you what to do, just meeting you in the stillness with a quality of attention that the ordinary mind cannot generate on its own. This is what the ancient teachings meant when they spoke of the universe as a living presence, not a personality that issues commands, but an intelligence that responds to openness. And the opening is not something you manufacture. It is something that becomes available when you stop closing it. So how do you get there? Not by trying harder, not by sitting longer, or reading more, or building a better practice. You get there by releasing, gradually, the belief that you are not already there. Because the deeper truth, the one that sits at the heart of every genuine contemplative tradition, is that the stillness you are seeking is not somewhere ahead of you. It is the ground you are already standing on. You simply cannot feel it while you are running. When you stop running, even for a moment, the ground becomes apparent. The stillness was always there. The universe was always speaking. You were simply moving too fast to feel the ground, too loud to hear the voice. This is the moment that changes things, not a dramatic awakening, not a lightning bolt, just a moment of stopping, of letting the momentum die down, of standing still long enough to realize that what you were running toward was always beneath your feet. And when that moment arrives, and it will arrive, because it is not a destination, but an inevitability for anyone who keeps gently returning to stillness. Something in you exhales in a way it has not exhaled in years, maybe longer. And in that exhale, in that final release, the universe does not shout. It does not need to. It simply says, in the only language that was ever real between you, I have always been here. You were always welcome. This was always home. 8. Living from the quiet. The question most people never ask, but the one that matters most, is not how to find stillness. It is how to carry it back into ordinary life, how to remain connected to that quiet when the day gets loud, when the responsibilities pile up, when the world makes its endless demands and the mind begins its familiar acceleration. Because if stillness only exists on a meditation cushion, in a quiet room, in rare perfect conditions, then it is not really freedom. It is a retreat. And retreating, while sometimes necessary, is not the same as being free. The Buddhist understanding of this is precise and practical. The inner quiet you cultivate in stillness is not something you keep in a special container that you open once a day and then close. It is a quality of awareness that, with practice, begins to seep into everything. The way water seeps into stone, not by force, but by consistent presence. You begin to carry a small amount of stillness into a conversation and notice that you listen differently. You bring a breath of quiet to a moment of stress and notice that you respond instead of react. You touch that inner ground for 1 second before making a decision and notice that the decision feels more like truth and less like fear. This is what it means to live from the quiet. Not to be untouched by life, not to float above it in some detached serenity, but to move through it with a quality of presence that is rooted in something deeper than thought. A presence that the people around you will feel even if they cannot name it. A steadiness that is not performed, but simply real. And here is what begins to happen when you live this way consistently. The universe does not just speak in moments of stillness. It begins to speak through the whole of your life, through the unexpected conversation that reorients everything, through the door that closes in a way that, 3 months later, you understand was a gift. Through the subtle knowing in your body that precedes understanding in your mind. Through the quality of your days which begin to carry a different feeling, less like survival, more like participation in something you trust, even when you cannot see it. This is the real promise of quieting your mind, not escape from the world, deeper entry into it. An entry that is guided not by fear or habit or the endless noise of a mind protecting itself, but by something older and wiser. The quiet intelligence that runs through everything, that holds everything, that has been speaking to you your entire life. You do not need to be perfect at this. You do not need to meditate for hours or renounce the world or achieve any particular state. You only need to keep returning to the breath, to the stillness beneath the noise, to the part of you that already knows how to be quiet because it has never been anything else. The universe has been patient. It will keep speaking. Your only task, the only task that has ever mattered, is to become someone who can hear it. You came here with a busy mind, and maybe it is still busy. That is fine. The seeds of this are already planted. in the part of you that recognized something true while listening. You do not have to force silence. You do not have to achieve anything. Just return again and again to the stillness underneath the noise. It was here before the thoughts began. It will be here when they settle. And in that quiet, the universe has always been speaking your name. If this reached something in you, subscribe and return whenever the noise gets loud. The quiet will always be here, and so will we.